All right, we are in the Wells Fargo Championship. It is Thursday. It is qualification round number one. I haven't really looked at the course, so it's Quail Hollow, and I'm not sure how many times have we played Quail Hollow. Only a few times. Only a couple times. President's Cup, Rewind Tournament, North Carolina 9-hole Cup. Played them a few times. We'll see if I can remember how to play it. It seems like on this first hole there is a rough bump, but I can't remember. So we're just gonna go. I'm just gonna go play it just to have some fun. Just to have some fun. What is the deal with that? You can't have any fun playing this game. Come on. I was gonna call dinner earlier today, but one thing led to another, and it's. We're coming into spring. We're having semi-nice days. It rained all day today, but I was still able to get a lot of stuff done. Let's see here. Let's pick some stuff. Let's make sure I got bags set up. So I got a distance, accuracy, utility. I got a bag with a Goliath, and I got an apocalypse bag. So I'm gonna start off. It seems like if we do the rough bump here, and I could be wrong, but it seems like we need some side spin. So just in case, I'm going to bring a Quasar. Let's take my golden shot. I got a gold. I haven't watched. I will tell you, if you don't watch Tommy stuff, the one thing that is definitely worth watching is his golden shot videos. It's definitely worth watching, especially if you want to buy the pack for it. He will definitely dial it in, but I'm going to just wing it. Well, wang it. See what happens. I was shooting this hole during the tournament from down on the bottom, and it is a much bigger wind adjustment than it is from up at the top. We'll go at it. If I remember correctly, this is like a 30% up at the top. Divided by 1.7. I'm going to do like 2.5. I'm going to do 4 rings, 3.9. Who's counting? There's 3.9. Hitting it perfect. See if I got my topspin right. Yeah, it looks like it's coming in too fast. Too fast! Should only been like maybe 2 topspin. Little bit too fast. All right, that was my golden shot. There we go. I suppose if you watch the video, you'll probably be much better at it. Nada, nothing. Zip, zilch. Hole number 1. We'll just flow through them and check them out. See what they got going. And my connection is unstable. Are they dicking with me? I think I'm playing in the United States. That's probably why my connection's unstable. They're like, dude, what are you doing playing in the United States? You're usually playing Norway or the Netherlands or Australia. What are you doing at home? There is definitely a rough bump. And this wind is perfect for it. Oh, you don't have to pull over the sand. Let's check my opponent out and see if they do. You see me touching the screen. I want to see what kind of wind adjustment they do. And they just did a normal wind adjustment. That was about 3 rings. A little less than 3. Perfect. Now let's see where they hit. That was a good landing. Good. Ooh! They slightly overpulled it. Slightly. Six divided by 0.9. Where am I at in my club? I'm at max. 6.33 rings. .33 rings. See if I can get lined up with the wind. Hold still, damn it. There's 6 1/3. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole, ball. Woo! In the hole. And I took off 5%. I did. That was 0.95 times the wind divided by 0.9 per ring at Max Club. There we go. First time on it. I haven't played that hole in a while. 0.95. I took 5% off. I suppose. Let's see. Let's see if it would have just been 633 minus 1. I think I've taken the 5% off. If I would have done that wind divided by 0.9 minus 0.1, it would have been 656. A little bit of an overpull, so taking 5% off. Hole number 2. What is hole number 2? What do we got in store for us on hole number 2? Hole number 2. Let's see if I remember these holes. Okay, this is a par 4. Can we get on in one? I'm always keen on these par 4s of trying to get on in one. If I remember correctly, I think we were just getting up into this area and having to get up. It's hard. It's always hard at the end of a run when you're trying to get on, when you've got a rough area that you got to go through, because you don't have a lot of control over it. So sometimes you can make it through and sometimes you can't. But on this one, I think we were just laying it up. I think. Now, from rookie, you're going to have a hard time if you're in. From pro, you might be able to get out here and run it through and not go around this tree. So from rookie, we might have some options here where we can come out into this area and try and top spin it to get it to roll out here. Or we can start off on this side and do a max curl shot and try and bring it around. Here's the deal with the max curl. If we draw a line from, here's our termination point at that tree, we draw a line to the tee box and we come out. We've got to make this angle. And here's the midline of our shot. So depending on where our red line's at, to get around those trees, if you wanted to get around those trees and come on the outside, I think you'd have to give yourself a lot of room out here in order for your curl to develop. It's probably going to be between the trees, but I can't remember. We'll find out when we get out there. And I'm going to bring a Titan, the king of balls. Here we go. Getting out on the course. Playing some Golf Clash. But of course. .95 on the first one. Let's see what we got going here. Start off with bag. Bag number 1 if I'm going behind the tree and just trying to top spin it over and lay it up. And bag number 5 if I'm trying to take it around the tree. And we might be able to make that. We might. Might just. Get so far up in that shot, I think we can make it from there. It might be too much. There's 3, there's 6, there's 6.5. One ring great on the inside. That works. That works. That was max topspin. The way you could do that if you didn't have upper developed clubs is to bring out a possibly a bigger ball like my opponent. Now, they can probably get on if they use a bigger ball. They might be able to get a run through that rough. But you could bring out a bigger ball with a big tapa, because it's got lots of curl. If you got lower developed stuff, you could. I think they might be able to get on. They're going in the sand. They might have been able to bleed through that rough and get on in one. That would have been a good shot. Hell of a shot. Okay, there's Max. I could probably do a rough bump from here. .3 divided by 2.4. It's 2.62 rings. There's 2.62 exactly. Oh, and I fucking hit it great. On the wrong side, too. Woo! Can't be good, be lucky. 2 in a row. I used the mid number there. I was kind of, if I was using a slider, if I was using the app, that was probably maybe 60%. Maybe 65, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it was pretty, with a rough bump, you don't get any secondary wind effect. So being that close, I probably overpulled it. But you can't be good, be lucky. That's the deal. Ooh, get in there. Oh, that was... Man, that'd have been right on the lip if it had been right towards the flagpole. That, I think they still would have been a little short on it, but that was close, 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 close. Hole number 3. Let's see if we can get the elusive 7 and 3 and get the Albi here. Wouldn't that be cool? All right, just straight down the gut as far as you can pound it. This is one of those long ass holes. If I remember correctly, this is a long hole. How long is this hole? Do you give distances here? No distance. No distance. If I remember correctly, it's pretty... There's another hole in the game that I can think of that's kind of like this, where it's straightforward, but I'm going to bring out a big ball just to get down there. And I think if I remember correctly, if I don't bring out a big ball, I'm going to have to... I think the second shot... Let's look at this hole. I think the second shot is... If you don't get quite far enough in there, you've got to bounce it over from here to get over to it. But if you bring out a big enough ball and you can get far enough down there, you can start off on this side. I think if you had a big dog, you might be able to do a rough... No, I don't think even with a big dog, with all its topspin, you can do a rough bump. All right, let's... I'm just going to stick with my number 1 bag. That gets me maximum topspin and bring out a big ball and see what can happen. We'll bring out a Berserker. And bag number 1. Continue. Here we go. All right, let's see if we can get it in the hole. Let's see if we can get the elusive at 7 and 3 and make the first 3. If I can get an opponent. That's a big if. That's a capital I, capital F. Big if. Such a big word for such a small amount of letters. Super Korean. 1. That must mean there's a Super Korean 2. And just a flat out Super Korean. Damn, that's a long ass hole. Long. 2, 4, 6, 7. 7, 7. I'm going to do an 8 ring pull. I'm going to put that wind back in there, since we're trying to get as much distance as possible. One ring great to the right. And hopefully that little teeny bit of curl will save me on this second bounce. I can get away from that rough. Man, this is a long hole. That is a long shot still to go. 469. There's a course not too far from my house at Charbonneau up the road. They've got some par 4s that are over 400 yards. Pretty good sized par 4s. Let's see what my opponent did. 424. All right. Nope, not enough. Would need to bring out a bigger club and not enough topspin to get me there, so we'll have to do the bounce over. I'm going to keep myself 3 rings off that. .6, 6.16 rings. There's 6.16. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole. Get in the hole, ball. I'll probably go by at 1,000 miles an hour. It's downhill. Hit the flagpole. Look at that. Look how close that was. I did a 10% adjustment on that. That close to a 7 and 3. I was thinking about it when it was rolling out there. I was thinking about leaving it a little short so it dribbled down in it. And I think that last adjustment I did, that last movement, got my ball guide right up to the cup. I was thinking about leaving it like a square short. So if you're going to bring out a regular power 3 ball, you need to bring out a big dog or a cataclysm or something that's got some distance and topspin on it. If you bring out a power 5 ball, you can get that done. You could get over to the other side with a cataclysm or a big dog that gives you that extra distance. I think it's 185 versus, 172 for a sniper. So, I mean, it's quite a bit of distance. We'll have to look. Turn that off. Had a couple things on there trying to get me practice tokens. Denner and I shot a great video. We went out during the spring major and shot, and was able to hook up, and we practiced a bunch of the holes and shot a great video, and then the sound didn't work and part of the video got corrupted. Bummer. 6 and 3. Damn it. So close. That was right there. What is the sniper versus a big dog distance-wise? 180, 172. I thought it was 185, but my mistake. That's a lot, though, out on the course. I think with a cataclysm or a big dog, I would have been on the other. I could have started on the other side, and with the difference in topspin, I might have been able to do a rough bump. Maybe. Would have been close. All right, what's hole number 4? Hole number 4. See if we can get it going. Another long ass hole. Now, it seems to me that I was overshooting the hell out of this the last time, and I was ending up in the rough over here. I was trying to get it to go around the bend from where my red line was at, and I kept ending up in the rough. So we either need to do a max overpower hook shot so that we can get more going in this direction, or I need to shorten up my topspin so that I end up out in the fairway. It's not the end of the world to end up in the rough or the sand and have to take a shot when you may be up in this area and you are closer, but your needle speeds. But taking the risk of getting into the drink is never good. I'm not into having to go out with my water and hit out of the water or lose my ball in the water. So I'm pretty sure that I can overhit this. So I'm just going to try and get out into this area and give myself a second shot. Is this a par 4? This is a par 4. Maybe with a big 5 side spin ball or something like that, I might be able to get around that corner, but I don't think so. I don't think so. What are my options? Don't really want to take a precision ball on this. Don't want to do it. Don't really want to do the topspin if I'm cutting back on topspin. I think I'm just going to take a Kingmaker. Just a standard Kingmaker. And I'm going to take my number 5 bag. That'll get me there. That'll get me in a little bit of trouble. Just enough. I have no idea what I should be doing on the second shot to the cup. I go first. I go first. Yeah, I mean, that's just way too much to try and get around that band. I suppose if you bring out a really big ball, you could try and go at it this way. You try and rough bump it out and bleed it out. Damn. And that's a big spin to make there. It's 1.5 per ring. So there's 3, there'd be 6, there'd be about 5.5. Max curl. Hitting it perfect. And we'll just lay it up out there. Oh, in the sand. Now we're in trouble. Now we're in trouble. I'll just have to make it from the sand. Take that. Power 3 ball, topspin boost. I think a power 5 ball with topspin boost, you could, or just a power 5 ball, you could get out there and rough bump it out and end up coming out in front, especially with this wind. I must have moved that the wrong way. I did something wrong. I did something wrong. My opponent's in the rough, but they are much closer. Much more. Leave the wind in and just try and get up there. At this point, it's all about recovering. If you screw up, just recover. Don't try and get tricky. Two rings great to the right. Just try and get up there and give yourself an opportunity to recover and get back on it. What you don't want to ever do is drop a shot off minimum score. So that is really bad. Not picking up the eagle that you wanted or not getting a hole-in-one that you were really counting on is recoverable. You still got, but when you start dropping shots off of minimum score, that is the death of a round. You can get on fire and come back and light it up, but you don't want to have to put yourself in that position. Where am I at? Isn't it perfect? Get in the hole, ball. Go home. In the hole. Recovered. In one-on-one play, sometimes you're in a spot where you gotta get yourself up there, and you may take a shot, but putting yourself in a chance to make the next shot and giving yourself, it's so easy to go from the rough to the rough, from the sand to the sand, that you want to at least give yourself a shot at it. But when you're playing tournaments, if you don't get your drive, just get in recovery mode and get up there and get it in the hole. That's why it's not so bad when you're out there practicing and you're playing in some of the earlier rounds. If you do duff a shot, it gives you good information so that you're like, hey, I know I can recover from that spot. So if I get in that spot, it's not the end of the world. You don't have to throw your device. You can, okay, I can recover from there. Hole number 5. All right. What you don't want to do is back a hole up and then come out and you can get into rounds where you screw a hole up and then you go back out and you screw the next hole up and you get into this little deal. So we don't want to be doing that shit. Now, it does seem to me that there was a rough bump from here, but you have to have a ball that's got spin, and I believe you might have to do it with a Goliath. There was I like doing rough bumps from these areas, but we definitely want to take the right stuff. Let's see which way the wind's blowing. And the wind's blowing so that if we have to do a pull, if we do that rough bump, which way was the wind blowing? It was blowing like in this direction. So if we are in this area, we take the risk of having to pull over the sand. And with the wind higher, we're more than likely going to have to pull over the sand. And the sand is definitely going to distort our rings. So what to do? What to do? First of all, take a ball with some side spin. Let's start this show off with a katana. We'll take a katana and see what happens. It gives us a little bit of wind. And 3 side spin. We'll just take the number 1 bag and we'll see what that rough. Let's go in and I'll practice this hole once just so I can see what it looks like. These par 3s, especially when you're doing rough bumps and you're trying to do stuff on par 3s, you go in with the best of intentions and you end up getting a par. And talk about a round killer. When I first started shooting videos, and for those of you that have watched me for a long time, I was a big fan of, like, go to these holes and, like, if you're having any problems at all or if it's risky at all, just go up there with a backspin club, try and stick it by the cup, take your chances. You might make it. I mean, making those backspin shots, you can still make those shots. But the deal is you started off on the green and you're going to end up on the green. If you miss it, you take your putt and you move on to the next hole. Okay, there's max. There's min. There's mid. So I want to do the rough bump from there. Ooh, I'm going to have to be in a skinny part. 5-9. Look at how much that's distorting the rings. It'd be 5. Let's see. Isn't it perfect? Let's see if it hits the rough. Yes. Probably over pulled it, but I did like where it hit in the rough. At least it hit the rough. That's a risky ass shot. I think doing what my opponent's doing and just going for it that way might be the better play. There might be a rough bump from there as well. If you can do the rough bump from that area with this wind, it would give you a little bit more. I think you'd still end up pulling over the sand, but if you had a low wind ball, you might have to bring out a Goliath to hit it from there, because you might need the extra topspin in order to get the roll to the cup. But a Goliath hits at 1.9 per ring at max, and I wasn't at max, but I could bring a lower wind ball to try and eke me more towards max. Let's practice it one more time. I want to try it from that other spot. I could do what my opponent did right there and try and just bounce it over. But if there's... Sometimes when you're doing these areas where there's rough bumps, you may have to... It's always nice to have options. I can think of one par 3 in the game. There's 4 different ways that you can play it depending on which way the wind's blowing. And there's 3 of those 4 ways are rough bumps. Let's practice it one more time. Let's practice it one more time. One more time. Just to try and figure out which way I want to play it. Safe or dangerous? Dangerous as hell. Let's what the hell? Let's bring out bag number 4, and let's switch to a quasar. Must have a quasar tagged. We'll select that one. Then we'll, oh, nope, back. Let's not get caught up in that little trick. Practice. Now, where are my ball guide notes? Goliath 1.9. Technically, I think if you play by Golf Class Notebook, I think it's 1.8, but I think with a low power ball, it might be 1.9 still. If you play it with a 3 power ball, I think it drops it down. If you got a maxed out Goliath, I think it drops it down to 1.8 per ring. Maybe. Let me look at... Do I have advanced notes here? 1.8, 2.1 plus 1. Yeah, I think if you're using a 3 power ball. Let's see if there's a rough bump from right here. So 6.4 divided by 1.9 is 3.36 rings. There's 1, 2, 3, 3, 6. Isn't it perfect? Not quite enough steam, but it was heading that direction. That might not be a bad way to play it, or at least an option. A low wind ball would have helped there. Might have slightly overpulled it. Looked like it was coming into the left, but it might break a little bit right before the cup and then roll back to the right. When in doubt, backspin it out. The thing about a Saturn, though, I love Saturns. I played with a Saturn for a long, long time. I played with a Saturn until they came out with this. When they came out with the club card trading, the week before they did that, they buffed a bunch of clubs. And one of the clubs they completely revamped was the Grizzly. And before that, I played almost exclusively with a Saturn. A Saturn doesn't hit very far, but it's got a lot of tools. Its accuracy gives you the kind of what you get with a Goliath, where it's at 1.9 per ring, and so you don't have to move it a lot of rings when you're playing with it. It's got lots of backspin, topspin, ball guide. It's got a lot of tools, but the thing about the backspin is that it's not 100%. So on shots like that, trying to get that suck back that you can get with a Thorn or a Guardian or Grim Reaper, you can't. There's a big difference between 80 something backspin and 100. How to play it. And I don't have any low power, low wind balls. I'm not using that 0 power 5. I'm not using that one. I'm not going to do it. It wouldn't be prudent. Not at this juncture. Now the one thing I did there was I did a max pull, and I probably wasn't at max club. And the only thing I have that I could take is I could take one of these, but that's even... It could be a slight over pull. All right. All right. I'll take one of those. You guys talked me into it. All right. That's what you want me to do. That's what I'll do. I think if you look at Tommy's, he's got plus 20%. I don't think I was at max club. So max club would be 1.9. Mid club, which is probably closer to where I was at, is 2.3. So with the 20% on 1.9, that would be 1.9 times 1.2. That'd be 2.28. So that'd basically be the same as hitting it in mid club. So I'm going to do what I did before and just do the max number. All right, here we go. 1.9. Maybe if I can get an opponent, I go first. 4.4 divided by 1.9, 2.31 rings. Yeah, it does break right at the end, so I just didn't have quite enough speed on it. I'm going to put that through the hole just to make sure. 2.31 rings. Okay, there's 2, 3, 1. Hitting it perfect. And still not enough speed. And it does break at the right, but I'm not sure if it was breaking right there going towards the cup, or if I'd have missed that to the left. It might have been a slight overpull. Slight. It's a dangerous ass shot. It's distorting the ring so bad down there when you're pulling it. I was pulling it on the fairway side, so I wasn't involving the sand in the pool. But even though you're doing that, it's still screwing your rings up. My opponent's got a Saturn. If you want to do a backspin shot on a hole like this, we do have Grim Reapers. You can get up there and it's got 100% backspin. It's got more backspin in many cases, depending on what level you have it on, obviously, but it's not a bad club, especially when you get it upper developed. But if you're having problems on a hole, there ain't nothing wrong with just going up there and trying to backspin it in, because even on a great, it could still end up going in. It could. That's the thing about taking those backspin shots. Now, Thorn's got such a big long tail on it. It's got such a big, especially when it gets upper developed, its ball guide is so awesome that you can actually see what direction it's going to backspin it into. And you can walk that tail into the cup. Whereas a Guardian, that's the one tool that a Guardian's missing, is its ball guide. I think it's got like a 3.9 ball guide, but if it had into the 4s, you could really get a read with your Guardian. Guardian's got a lot of tools too. I've been playing some one-on-one with my odd account, trying to get it up to pro so I can play with Dunner in pro tournaments with that account. And so I've been playing Tour 8, and my normal MO for a bag is extra mile, and my wood is a Guardian. Because it works out great in a lot of the shootouts. A lot of the shootouts you can get in there, and if the wind's not going your direction, you can get up close and you can backspin it and just stick it right by the cup. it comes in handy. The one tool it doesn't have is a lot of topspin, but a lot of times topspin's not what you need. All right, this is another one of those holes trying to get around the bend. It seemed to me that the red line was out in this area right here and that we could get up, like up in this area, but you definitely want a ball with some side spin. And you definitely need a club with curl. So I'm gonna bring back number 5. And I'm gonna bring a Kingmaker. 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 And we'll just take a regular Kingmaker. Not a major Kingmaker. It's not worthy of a major Kingmaker. It's just a Kingmaker. See if I can remember the hole once I get out there. All right. Man, that is definitely going to take some curl. What the hell are you doing, dude? Are you really putting on max backspin in that spot? Really? I guess so. I guess so. My curl's going to put me like up in this area, so I think that'll work. I think it will. There's 3. There's 4, 5. That's a 10% adjustment. And I hit it 65 rings, great on the inside. But I left myself, I could have ran more topspin on it if I was going to do it. I left myself lots of room. I'm a big fan of never setting a shot up where you leave yourself less than 2 rings of separation from any transitional surface. So if you hit a grade on the inside or a grade on the outside, you're giving yourself a little bit of room and not pinching yourself up. I totally get it. Like, hey, if you're going to do this shot, this is the way that I set this shot up. And in order to get this shot done, you got to leave yourself 1 blade of grass away from your... You got to pinch it and you got to do all the stuff. But the deal is that you set the shot up. So set up a different shot so you can give yourself a little bit of room. I mean, how hard is that? There's my red line I could do. Can I do a rough bump from there? Maybe. I'd have to pull over that sand. And I'd need a ball with more side spin. So if I wanted to do that, I'm definitely going to have to bring a different ball. How much backspin? Let's put on all the backspin. 4, 4. I'm just going to do a straight up adjustment. There's 4, 4. Oh fuck, that was a solid 2 rings great to the left. Solid. That was every bit of 2 rings great to the left. It's probably the worst shot I've taken all day. I set that one shot up bad. I must have set it up bad. I need to go back and watch the video and see what I did on that one shot where I ended up in the sand. I got no idea what was wrong with that. I mean, I think I did hit the ball like 1 ring great on the inside, but like I just said a minute ago, I always leave myself separation. So usually I'm never worried about a 1 ring great to the left or the right. There are some holes, however, no matter how you set them up, if you don't hit it perfect, you're screwed. But when you got these big ass fairways, usually it doesn't really matter whether I hit it not perfect. At least on the first shot. The second shot, you pretty much, if you got your wind stuff set up right and you're making great adjustments, if you don't hit it perfect, it's not going in. It's one of the reasons my buddy Scooby, I started shooting videos originally from my buddy Scooby, and his whole deal was How come you're not watching the videos and learn how to do that stuff? Well, if I learn how to do that stuff and then I don't hit it perfect, it won't go in. But if I don't watch those videos and I just eyeball it and I hit it great, it could still go in. Like, you bastard. Bastard. All right. What are we on? 7, 8, and 9. We got 3 holes left. 7. Let's get on a run here. We had a little bit of a flat area in the middle. Is this par 4? This is a par 4. I feel like just pounding one of these holes. It's got to be possible to get up there. Especially if we can start off on this side over here. If we can get on this side so that we can really bring our curl into play. Let's see what we can get done here. Let's bring the same shit that we got right here. What do I got? I got that. And I got a kingmaker. That sounds good. That sounds good. If I can get up there far enough, I might switch to my extra mile, just so I can get the extra topspin. We'll see. We'll see. Let's get it all on. Let's get it all. Yeah, this is a big ball. If you bring out a big enough ball, you can get in front of that and you can really get up there. I'm going to leave that wind in. There'll be 3 rings of separation off of that rough and just leave the wind in. One ring great on the outside. To the right. Yeah, a big ball, you could really get up there. Shit, you could probably, bring a topspin boost ball, you can probably get on in one. The deal with the topspin boost balls, especially on a shot like that, is it's a catch-22. You can get more topspin, but you can't get any side spin, so you have to do it with curl. So bringing out a bigger ball so you can start on the other side, so you can get more to the left. Are they trying to? I sometimes take these shots and I'm like trying to remember whether I'm doing a max overpower hook or if I'm just doing a max hook or a max curl shot. That definitely looks like it's uphill. Definitely. Definitely. Kmart sucks. 4.9. Where am I at on my club? There's max. There's min. There's mid. I'm in mid club, so mid club is 1.6 divided by 1.6. 2.75 rings. I'm going to put on 1 backspin. 2.75 rings. There's 2.75. Exactly. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole. Ooh, didn't pull it enough. I took a little bit of wind off of that because it was uphill and it just felt like I needed to take a little bit of wind off, but I probably should have just hit it straight up. If I would have hit it straight up instead of 2.75, that would have been 3, and that probably would have been, well, it obviously would have been closer, but that probably would have been right to just take a straight up shot. Plus 0. Claw is another great club. I played with a claw for a long time as well, but I really like Hornets. The biggest mistake I made with my Hornet was upgrading it to max. I should have left it at level 8. At level 8, I'm I love that club at level 8, but when I upgraded it, I just never had the success with it that I had when it was at level 8. I'd really like to retcon that and go back and give up. I'd be willing to give up the stuff just to take that club back a notch. The numbers that I used for it were totally different than anything you'll find in the books, but the numbers worked. And I just loved playing with my Hornet, and I ruined it when I maxed it out. If I could go back, that would be the club that I'm never maxing out, instead of my the rough iron that I haven't maxed out. All right. Man, what's it take to qualify? Oh, I still got 2 holes left. What was I thinking? I'm in the qualification zone. I am. What's at the top? 14th at the top. Getting her done. All right. Hole number 8. Hole number 8. Now, this looks like a straight up par 3. Just a straight up shot. I'll take a quasar. Take a quasar. See if we can get her in the hole. Get in the hole, ball. Go home. I have no idea what to do, so we'll do whatever Tommy says. Well, we're going to do a plus 10. Tommy says to do a plus 10, so we're going to do a plus 10. We'll see what happens. Taking that bag of work. I'm sure it's going to be a grizzly, but it could be sniper. It could be. It's probably grizzly. What did let me think what I did with my Hornet when it was level 8. I think I played it at 1.1, 1.9, 2.2, and I killed it with that club forever, for years. And those numbers are definitely not the numbers that are in the book. What's funny about it is that I'll do a pull, and that's going to go to the right. There you go. Still going to go to the right. It's going to break right at the very end. Goliath at 1.9, that'd be 3/8, maybe a half a ring. So like 2.5 rings. We'll see how many rings they pull it. And that was close to 2.5. It was like 2 and 2.33, 2.4. Hitting it perfect. Prove me wrong. Ooh. Close. Close. There's Max. There's Min. Shit, I'm at Min Club. So what's Min Grizzly? 1.4. 1.3 minus 1. So 5.8 equals divided by 1.3. 4.8 rings. Rings. There's 4, 8. Hitting it perfect. Let's see how close I can get. Not even. Not even close. So I would say with a grizzly, you need to do, if you're doing minimum club, we probably need to do plus 20. Maybe even a little bit more. Let's see what it would have been if instead of, it was 4.8 rings. That was at 1.3. If I had did it at max club. Wow, hold on. 5.8. Let's change these numbers here. 5.8, 5.8. That'd have been 644. If I'd have did it at Max Club, that would have... Sometimes it's better if you can just do your max numbers and you're not adding on. Like if you're having a hole that you're having to add on, like say you're not at max, you're at mid or min, and you're using the mid number and you're starting to add on a lot to work out the math to see what it would be if you do just your max number. It especially works good with a sniper, something that's 1-to-1. Sometimes it's easier to do the math when you're just at 1-to-1 and you're adding on 10% instead of minimum club adding on or doing a bunch of weird stuff. Hole number 9. Hole number 9. Let's see if we can get this down. Hole number 9. All right. This is the one where you don't want to be too far. Like we don't want to be... I think the pin... Let's see where the pin is. Does he show where the pin's at? No dice. If I remember correctly, the pin's like over in this area. So you can, if you get behind these trees, like you either need to get out into here or you need to lay it up. This might be a good hole to bring a Goliath if you were trying to do a rough bump from here, depending on where the pin placement's at. But I think, if I remember correctly, trying to get out past the trees to clear it was quite the effort. That you pretty much wanted to just lay it up right up in this area. And anywhere down here by this rough, like laying it up here so that you gave yourself a wide open shot to the green. And I would think where you'd want to be is probably if we look at this as our landing zone to try and get to the cup, depending on where the cup's at. Like down along this range, so like somewhere in this zone would give you the best angle at it. Whereas if you were here, you still may have an angle at it, but you're kind of pinching yourself. You're making it so that your bounce is going to be closer to that sand. You give yourself more leeway depending on which way the wind's blowing if you were in this area. And if we, like, let's just say the pin was in the center of the hole, as far as arc goes, from here, you're about the same distance from the cup as you are from here. Even though on the course, you may be in a forward position than you would be from here. As far as the shot to the cup, you're in exactly the same position. And this gives you, in this area here, gives you a better angle. So I'm gonna aim towards this area down in here and try and get into that quadrant. That's my goal. And avoid those trees altogether. So I want to bring out... I'm going to start off with my number 2 bag, which is my accurate bag, and just see if I can get it done with that. And I'll bring a Kingmaker just to make sure, just to cut the wind down a little. Why not? Why not? Did I already get my club card trading today? I think I already did. I didn't get diddly squat. I ended up putting more on my... what the hell is that rough iron? I can't remember what rough iron it is. The Razor. That's my bank club. Almost got 9,000 cards in it. So one of these days I will run out of club card trading cards on all of the other clubs, and so I'll have to finally upgrade that to and max it out to get access to those. And yes, I would get 3 options for an epic every day, but how many days do you get you get 3 epics that you're like, all 3 of these suck and I just wasted. It doesn't matter whether I get my boomerang to level 8 or level 75. I'm still not going to use it. And while a Castaway does have kick-ass backspin, how often, yeah, see, that's where you don't want to end up. Yeah. Good effort there, bro. Good effort. We don't need to get behind the tree. That's key. Give myself 3 rings of separation. 100% accurate club. That's why it's in my accurate bag. 4 rings. Put a little teeny bit of curl on it and just a titch of overpower. Not enough to make the needle go any faster. Just lay it up. Lay it up. Give myself a nice clean shot right to the cup. I would have liked to have been a little bit more to the right, but I forgot to really kind of look at it to see how much curl I could put on it. Now, you can easily recover from that spot, but why put yourself in the position of getting behind the tree? So this is one of those big dick scenarios where, like, I've got a bigger dick than you. I hit it farther than you did. Well, great. Now you're in that spot. Now, if you put on all the backspin and all of your side spin right there, you can curl it over to the other side and you can recover very easily. I'd pull it back just a titch from the red line. Definitely take... That was not taking the wind out. You just moved it to the left. And we got a 6 mile an hour wind. There's a good chance that it could push it to the point where you get into the rough. That was not taking the wind out. That was not good. They got what they wanted, but that was still a piss poor shot setup in my opinion. There's max. There's mid. So I'm at mid club, which is 1.1 per ring. Divided by 1.1. Let's say 4.1 rings. There's 4, 1. Getting it perfect. I didn't add or take anything off. I just took a shot. Ooh! Probably should have added on 10%. I did the, well, 10% would have been a 4.5 as opposed to a 4.1, and I think that would have been too much. So maybe just like plus 0.1, plus 0.2. Because a 1 to 1, let's see here. Yeah, that would have been 4.5 versus 4.09. 4.1, I'd split the difference on that and maybe just did plus 0.2. Well, you put yourself, you took that drive. This, I will tell you, I looking at the photos, this is one of the things I love about, when the game first came out, we had zip resources. I mean, like, what does a maxed out, or what does a level 4 Guardian give you, or a level 5 whatever club? Pick one. Pick your favorite club. What does it do at level 5? You can go to Golf Clash Notebook. You can go to Golf Clash Tommy. You can pull up the apps. There's sites on there you can go. There's tons of information out there to give you that whole deal. But when the game first came out, we didn't have none of this shit. We didn't have none of these big ass pictures or nothing. I mean, you got the little teeny picture that came with it, so you couldn't. So when Golf Clash Notebook came out, that was the key for me, because I could come and draw on the screen. I could make it like I was a football coach and I was drawing out the plays, and we could really start to analyze the holes. And looking at a photo beforehand, I mean, you can go to, I'm using Tommy's site because Tommy has an updated site. That's why I'm not using Golf Clash Notebook anymore, even though I love that site. Tommy's site's better because it's updated. The cup is close to the middle here. Anything in this zone is shit. This is the shit zone. Hey, you either need to get farther, and they brought a low power ball. So if they'd have brought a bigger power ball, they could have got over to the other side. Or I was here with a 3 power ball, and I didn't get as close over here as I wanted, and I was still in mid club. So you got plenty of room over here. Even if I'd have brought a katana, I would have been more towards max. The reason I would try and not to bring a katana on here is if you did kind of get a little short, and the wind, when we had a headwind, you might have a little bit of issues pulling the wind out on that shot. So bringing a 3 power ball kind of gives you a little bit of leeway. But looking at the shot so that you're not putting yourself in a bad situation by hitting it in between the trees. This photo will tell you automatically, like, wow, that's where the green's at. And I don't know where the pin is, but anything that's in this zone is bad. Bad. Look at the photos. Look at them. Damn it. All right. Minus 14. With all of these 9-hole cups, really in the weekend rounds, it's, we're needing to look at 15 or 16 in order to do it. It's funny because the game has progressed. People have gotten better. What's really funny is people went, for those of you that haven't been playing forever and a day, here's how it used to go. A tournament would come out and they would say, hey, all these holes are going to be in Tour 3 and Tour 9 and Tour 12. And so you can go out there. Now, you would get 3 different courses. So you'd have to come out here and, half the time you get Sakura Hills and half the time you get, we're trying to get Sakura Hills, so they would make it lower. So about 30% of the time you get Sakura Hills, but you come out here and practice. And people were all like, you guys just go out there and practice and you can give these notes and that's all bullshit and you need to stop that. And they said, okay, we'll stop that. We'll make it so you can't play the tournament holes on just in whatever level you're playing out there on the course. We'll make it so that you have to pay for practice tokens so you can go out there and practice until your heart's content. And the scores have gone down because of that. Even though the wind is variable now, the scores have gone down because people can go out there and practice 27 times and then go out there and shoot the hole, and they have great numbers for it. So it has really changed the deal and made it so that you can really get and so all the people that bitched about, like, hey, you're making it, you guys are just cheating because you guys can go out there and your whole team, all your team is giving you notes and all that stuff. They've only made it worse for themselves. But minimum score is always minus 12. Even though, like, if you just shoot minimum score, shit, half the time you won't even make the round. You've got to pick something up. That's what's... And I will say one other thing about that is that they've made the courses a lot easier. All of the courses, even the older ones. Especially with the new pin placements on a lot of them. You would think that they would have put the pin placements in harder spots, but on a lot of those courses, they actually put them in easier spots where it's easier to pick up a shot. Some of the greens are a little bit different, so they have a lot more movement on them. So, like, getting your being able to just roll it off to the cup, and then anything in that direction kind of ends up at the cup is a little bit different. But they have made it easier. But these scores have gone up. So, but we still want to be shooting this minimum score of minus 12. But in these 9-hole cups on the weekend rounds, man, it has been like minus 15 plus in order to win. So you really got to be on your A game and you really got to sink those shots. And this course right here has got some pretty tough par 4s. There's no gimmies here. You can bring out some bigger stuff than what I brought out today, and you could work yourself out to get a little bit closer. But there are some pretty tough par 4s here. It can be done though, but it looks like 14 at least in the opening. But for the weekend round, really it's got to be 15 plus. Thanks for watching. Hopefully everybody has a great week, and I will catch you on the next one.